If you followed the show before, you know that I've never fully endorsed political candidates until today. I officially am announcing that I'm endorsing Mr. Communist, the Muslim Obama himself, Zohran Mamdani. So, the New York mayoral election primary is today, guys, and I want the communist, Zohran, I'm going to say his name so many times, it's so hard to say, Zohran Mamdani, I want him to win because I want people to see the failed politics that radical leftists like him have. For example, just this week, Mamdani came out with a video talking about how since groceries are so expensive right now, especially in New York City, he had the genius idea of creating government grocery stores. As always, guys, please like this video and subscribe so that other great patriots like yourselves will see it. Here is that video.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic pricing, jacking up the cost over the course of a day depending on what they can get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zohran Mamdani, and as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce. We will redirect city funds from corporate supermarkets to city-owned grocery stores, whose mission is lower prices, not price gouging. These stores will operate without a profit motive or having to pay property taxes or rent, and will pass on those savings to you.
So he's a communist, fully. My favorite part of this video, though, is when he says, it's like socialized healthcare, but for produce. And yeah, it's like, because socialized healthcare has done so well in our country. It's working so well. Like, he's absolutely right. It is like socialized healthcare. Like, that's not a lie. Let us all remember that in Canada, which is even more radically socialized healthcare than in the United States, but both are, in my opinion, you have to wait 4 months for basic surgeries. That's a fact. So if you like waiting 4 months for groceries, then this is a great idea. It's fantastic. If you like waiting in bread lines, it's a genius play. Fantastic. I fully support Zohran in doing this. Really, I'm not joking. I'm for real. Because we need a communist kind of microcosm somewhere in America. We need it close to home to remind people that it does not work. I'm 24 years old. The USSR fell 10 years before I was even born. And I'm voting. I've been voting in the last few elections, right? And there's a lot of people like me. There's a lot of Gen Zers that are very politically there. They like voting, which I think is a good thing. But they don't know the evils of communism. If they haven't studied history, it's just not that close to home. There hasn't been a massive kind of communist superpower since I was born, since well before I was born, really. So we need a reminder. A lot of people, even the people who live through it, need a reminder. And I think that there could not be a better place in America, really, than New York City. They can do their thing. They can show everyone else how awful it can be. Right now, in the polling shows that Zohran is in a dead heat with Andrew Cuomo, who you remember was the failed governor of New York, who let tons of COVID into old folks' homes and did crazy stuff, had awful deaths and all of that. Some polls show Cuomo is up 2 points, while others are showing that Zohran is up by 1. So it's kind of, it's a toss-up. No one really knows what's going to happen today. It's true that Mamdani is he's had a massive surge in the last few weeks. Most of that is due to some endorsements that he's gotten from AOC, for example, and a lot of others. He is the non-established candidate, it would seem. I'm not really 100% sure how non-establishment he is, but that's what it seems like. So again, it's way too close to call. And that is why, guys, I'm throwing in my endorsement last minute because I want to push Zohran over the finish line with my influence that I have over the lefties, because we need people to see what radical leftism does, and radical Islamist stuff, by the way, because he believes in all of that. He's been a citizen, I think, for only 8 years. I think New York needs to see that, and I think America needs to see it. We need people to see what we shouldn't do on the state or the federal level. One of my favorite things about doing this is interacting with you guys, and that is why I've released my new Substack. Go check it out right now. It's a newsletter that comes out every Saturday where I talk personally to you. There's also Q&A opportunities, ways that we can bounce political ideas off each other. Go check it out right now. The link is in the description below. My beautiful home state, Utah, is closer to making one of the worst decisions a state can make than it has been in a very, very long time, and that is legalizing marijuana. This is according to the Marijuana Moment. You didn't know there was a newspaper called that, but there is. This is what they say. The survey from the Deseret News and Hinckley Institute of Politics released on Sunday is one of the latest to show that voters are ready for a policy change, with 53% of respondents agreeing that the state should enact adult use cannabis legalization, including 30% who strongly embrace reform. It also shows that an overwhelming 77% of voters support the state's existing medical cannabis law. Now, I am praying that this is a bad poll. I hope that this is not accurate. It very well could not be accurate, but it also could be accurate. And I think people need to look at that. I know people in my sphere of influence don't like marijuana. They know that it's horrible for states. However, there are a lot of libs in cities like Salt Lake City and Park City. I guess anything that ends in a city, basically, there's libs here. I know that Utah votes Republican every year, but I don't think people understand the extent to how liberal places like Salt Lake are. I mean, Salt Lake really is becoming a Portland and a Seattle. It's very sad to see, but I think the reason why I don't want to just disregard the poll, even though it does seem a little high, I don't want to disregard it completely because there are a lot of liberals in Salt Lake, and there are liberals, frankly, kind of trying to go everywhere in Utah and make Utah not Utah. In my younger years, I've changed on this a lot, by the way. So if you're watching this and you support legalized marijuana, I used to also support legalized marijuana in my younger years. I was a lot more libertarian on things like this. And then I moved to Washington for 2 years. And it occurred to me that legalizing marijuana, and I think a lot of people feel this way, has never once made a place better. Not one. Like, you just can't point to a place and be like, the crime stats went down. They don't. They go up. Even though you've legalized something that otherwise would have been criminalized, the crime rates still go up. So, and that's just one thing. But also just having marijuana waft through the streets, like in Washington or Colorado or California, not usually a plus, especially if you have kids like me and a lot of you guys as my viewers. So that occurred to me. The other thing that happened, this is just one story, is one day I'm knocking doors as a missionary. That's why I was there in Washington. And a man opens the door and you basically just had weed wafting out of his apartment. Horrible, like super strong. And he was stoned out of his mind, and it's like, whatever, I was used to this. But then 2 little girls came out of the door to see who was there. And you could see that they were a little bit secondhand high. And that kind of sealed the deal for me. I was already kind of like, I don't like getting in the streets, but seeing that really sealed the deal for me. Kids obviously shouldn't be around it, and they are when it's legalized more. I became a libertarian no more after that experience. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will obviously oppose it, which I think is fantastic. I hope they exert all their political power possible to oppose it, and I think they will, and they have a lot, and they should have a lot, because most of the state are members of that church. But it's not enough alone. People have to oppose it on an individual level. It will make Utah like Colorado, and nobody wants that. Absolutely nobody wants that. Utah is infinitely better than Colorado. We already legalized medical marijuana here, and I actually want to make it clear, you saw in that poll that 77% said that they support medical marijuana as opposed to recreational, and I actually support that as well. I think it's actually been fairly successful in Utah. I think you hear anecdotal experiences of it going very well for people, but on a non-anecdotal level, if you look around, like, I haven't noticed, I've lived in Utah the whole time, but before it was legal and then after, I haven't noticed an uptick of it being abused here. You go skiing, you smell marijuana, that's kind of part of the experience, but outside of that, in neighborhoods, you're not really seeing medical marijuana being used as recreational marijuana, and for that, I think it's a success. However, recreationally, I don't think so. I don't know why we would want Utah to be more like California or Colorado. The progressive left is a cult, guys. I talk all about it in my new book, A New Cult. I talk about how the left has gone just crazy. I talk about some really crazy stories and kind of found some things out in my research. I have a feeling you'll enjoy it. Go check it out right now. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel so other great patriots like yourselves will see it, and tune in every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern to see the live show, or you can check out another video right here.